Welcome to Walks with Moss. Today Bella and I are just going to take a little stroll on a local river trail. She's ready as usual. Come join us. That is not appropriate hiking attire. Let's get this off of you. There we go. Up here are some oyster mushrooms. This has been a great year for oyster mushrooms. Here they are growing on a alder log. Quite a few of them here. I hope this fall is good for mushrooms. Last fall wasn't very good. So far this spring has been great. Lots of morels and lots of oyster mushrooms. This is the site of an old campground. One of many post-apocalyptic campgrounds that we have. You can't drive down to this campground anymore. There's a lot of these no campfire signs up, but I know they're left over from last year. They never took them down once the campfire bans were lifted last year. The road down here got washed out, but a trail has been built around the washout. I don't really understand why they decided there wasn't enough wood in the river here and needed to throw a whole bunch of wood down there on the bank. But there you have it. I'm standing on the road, and the road went that way. I can kind of see where it went. They've built a trail up around it. We'll take that trail around. See? Trail. In the distance there you can see trees that were uprooted and thrown in the river because it was decided there wasn't enough wood in the river. And then here's all the wood that was already in the river before they decided there wasn't enough wood in the river. So this is a pretty peaceful section of the trail. Most people aren't going to bother walking it when there's a road nearby. I didn't even know this existed until one day I just stumbled onto it. We've made it around the part where the road was washed out. This was the road right here. We're on the other side of that massive chasm with all the wood in it. And now we're going to go on the trail some more. Last time I was here, it was all covered in snow, and I was pushing my bicycle through it while wearing Crocs because I wanted to keep my hiking shoes dry. All the snow is gone now. This area here looks very much like it was probably an old backpacking campground, as level as it is, and it's just got that look about it. Here's a hypogymnia lichen. iNaturalist actually identified it as Hypogymnia M. shaugii. iNaturalist has gotten a lot better at IDing lichens and mosses since I last used it a few years ago for lichens and moss. The trail is wide enough here that it looks to me like it used to be a road. Maybe a road to a campground. Let's take the branch to the right. There's a makeshift outhouse. Here's a massive old growth Douglas fir that was allowed to die naturally. This thing is huge. There's half of it behind me. Impressive. There's a root ball from another tree that it's laying on. It's a rare thing that an old growth tree gets to die of natural causes. The trail is climbing up here to cross a creek, one can assume that there used to be a bridge here. Wouldn't be much other reason for the trail to have to climb up this much. Definitely no bridge now. The water is a very welcome sight though. Oh wow. It might actually be a little bit of a struggle to get across this and keep my feet dry. Well, I took a risk and stepped on a rock not knowing if it was stable or not, and it was not stable. And now my feet are soaking wet. Time for a drink of water. I wish I hadn't got my feet wet. Oh well. We've dropped down from the main trail now and are heading down a trail that I think goes to the campground where we are going to take our break and turn around. What a lovely area this is. None of these trails down here are really marked. You just have to find them by just wandering around aimlessly. Or, in my case, at this point in time, already knowing they exist from past aimless wanderings. There's a tree across the trail here, and I think there's going to be some very bad news associated with this tree. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. This was our goal for the day. Harps Shelter. It's gone. Oh man. I spent a few nights camping here. I hope they rebuild it. A fellow by the name of Harps used to run the Mount Rose Lodge. And in the winter, sometime a year, he would come over the hills from Lake Cushman, and he had a camp along the river, a hunting camp. I'm assuming this was the site of his hunting camp because this is called Harps Shelter. But it's gone. Wow. I sure hope they rebuild it. I've spent a lot of time here with my family. I can't tell how long it's been gone. Harps Shelter is no more. I can't even tell for sure how recently this happened. So Harps Creek Shelter is gone. It was right here, and these trees fell down, knocked it over, and the roof section fell over there. Looks like it happened fairly recently. Maybe even this winter, I don't know. I think the shelter's been gone a little while. It's been gone long enough that someone built a fire pit here. The main fire pit was over there because that's where the shelter actually was. Yeah, and that maple tree fell down a while ago too. So maybe it's been like this for a couple years. That tarp doesn't look like it's been on there more than a couple years. And obviously it would have been put on before it fell down. I didn't bring my fuel, so I'm just going to have cold coffee and cold soup. Obviously I could start a fire here. There's plenty of cedar shake kindling here. But I don't feel like doing that. That's pretty warm. I'll just have cold soup and cold coffee. I've got this chili here that was really expensive. I don't think I'll have it cold actually. This hasn't been a very long hike. I'll just have some cold coffee, which doesn't dissolve very well, but oh well. And then we'll just call it a day and hike back to the car. That definitely makes me sad. I camped there several different times with my late husband, so it's kind of another link to my late husband that's gone. But this spot is still here anyway, and maybe they'll rebuild. It's been gone a couple years, I'd say, based on how long ago that maple tree fell, based on the color of the wood and how the moss is dying. Okay, now we're going to head back the way we came. I was going to come down here and take pictures of this shelter and find out if my son wanted to stay here with me. He's stayed here with me and my late husband, but he doesn't remember it. Pretty sure my daughter stayed here too. It probably fell down during COVID, so it wouldn't have even been possible to rebuild it then. We are headed back up to the main trail again now. Bella's having the time of her life as usual. We are almost back to the creek where I got my feet wet, and I'll probably just cross it about the same way since my feet are already wet. I've got nothing to lose now. Bella doesn't care if she gets her feet wet. That's freedom. I see a place to cross and keep my feet dry. I'll step on this rock and then over to there, and then just kind of edge my way across there if I can. I'll put this away for this. Yay, it's not moving. So I'm just going to throw myself onto this bank, and then actually I think I'll step on this rock down here. Hopefully none of these are going to move on me. Nope, they did not move. So we made it across with dry feet this time. Yay! Beautiful spot. Here's a new species for me. Small-flowered blue-eyed Mary. Scientific name Collinsia parviflora. Beautiful little flowers. They look a little bit like violets to me. Back to the post-apocalyptic campground. Until very recently there was an outhouse here, but now it's completely gone. I think it was over here. I don't know where it went. It's a shame that it's gone. I'm just about back to my car now. Here's some oso berry. Right there, oso berry. If you enjoyed this adventure, please click on the next one, and thank you for watching.